See the world through the eyes of a Breen.
You're close. Give them to me.
Hosen 23.
It's Hosen 23. We're doing the unholy crossover today, but really, as always, the game is how long can we go without talking about anything. Damien,
It's going to be
yes.
Well, it's going to be easier this week. This week. That's ambitious.
No, actually, you're only getting the cream of the crop at home. We do these every week. It's just there's only one every 3 or 4 months that's any good. This is it. This is the best we can do. Yeah, go on. What were you going to say?
Well, yeah. So I'm going to fail laughably yet again this time around for 2 reasons. Because I'd forgotten the concept of the episode until you just mentioned it.
I thought so. And, I did think that would happen.
And I'm also currently being eaten alive by a small meatball of a thing.
Damien has a dog.
Yeah, you call it that.
What's its name? Stephanopoulos?
Alan Trousers is what we agreed upon. That's
Alan Trousers is a great name for it. Mukbang, I suppose.
I started with Mud, but, that had no takers. So I'm secretly training him to respond to Mud when no one's around.
Do you remember that story I told you about the people who had a house share with someone who had a dog, and he was never in, and they were always stuck with it, so they trained it to respond to paedophile?
Tell that story again, please. Or is that it?
Well, that was it, yeah.
Then you did tell me.
I guess, that really would bite if it forgot its original name. I don't know if that was the case or not.
His real name was Nonce. It was on the collar and everything.
But with an S, so it was okay. Nonce.
Nonce, yeah. You beat me to
it. Yeah. Is nonce just a British word, or do French people say like, oh no, le nonce?
I mean, they should, because it's, it has some impact, but I think it's exclusively British. I was at work, and for some reason it came up. Not the word itself, but I explained to them, what it meant. Like, oh, really? It's brand new to them.
It didn't come up, but you had to explain the definition. Let me explain what a nonce is, right? All right. So now...
Well, they were making jokes about paedophiles and stuff like that, and it's like, and I just kind of slipped in, fucking nonce or something like that, and they're like, you what? yeah, this is really old-fashioned... it's all, brand new English for you guys. Go out and hang on, fucking hell. Yeah, go out and celebrate it.
Chapter 2.
Get it back into the rotation. People don't say it anymore.
Diddlers.
Well, I'm sure Diddler's going to come back.
Well, with P Diddler and his
P Diddleys.
his trial. Have you been following that?
No, I haven't. I see the headlines. I don't read news in a meaningful way. I just read headlines and make my opinions and then move on.
Of course. I mean, I've been enjoying watching the news where it'll be like a woman, an extremely well-dressed lady with hair that has obviously just been brushed, looking dead into the camera and going, and we think that, up to 3,000 to 4,000 people in Sudan have been killed today in what is a genocide. But now, 30 minutes coverage of P. Diddy. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Are you familiar with P. Diddy? I know you know who he is. But, are you familiar with his music or anything?
I was familiar with some of it back in the 90s, yeah.
Mo Money and all that.
No, I always remember they did the police things, I'll Be Watching You, which... now has a very sinister connotation. Everywhere you go, no matter what you do, no matter where you are, I will be watching you.
Yeah, whereas that song is obviously really about God, isn't it? Think about it. But did you ever suspect It's always the ones you most suspect, isn't it?
Yes, didn't they say the same thing about Russell Brand?
Yeah. But are there any other people currently innocent who you would like to, I suppose, slander rather than libel? Unless you want to send me a quick email and make it libel. Just people that you wouldn't be surprised to hear allegations against. Not that we're making allegations against them. For example, Jay-Z, right?
Okay.
I've not heard anything against him. Don't know anything about him. But if I read about, Jay-Z's been arrested for having big old sex parties with underage people in a house full of cameras, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm not surprised. If I heard that about Eminem, I'd be like, oh really, Eminem?
He seems like such a sound chap.
I always imagined him just sort of like vegging on a couch with a beer watching some sort of sports ball. But
It's the latest edition of Sports Ball.
Sports ball. Pass it, take it, have it. Oh, sports ball.
Retrieval.
Interception.
Defense.
Quick block his interference.
Squeeze tight.
But are there any other people? I mean, I don't know if you want to make this a diddler episode. Seeing as you've not done any
what's
homework.
Kevin Spacey up to these days, huh?
You can't do that. That's like saying I suspect Fatty Arbuckle. Like, that's well established.
I'm surprised people haven't mentioned anything about... I mean, he's vanished, but Army Hammer after the whole cannibalism thing. It's like, well, these people were consenting to it, so I guess so it was fine. And then the whole world just agreed and forgot about it.
Yes, and Army Hammer now has a sterling career.
He'll do fine. He's a wealthy heir anyway. Like coal money or something stupid.
Isn't it to the toothpaste fortune? Isn't it?
Is it? Oh my god! Right? Is that just slotting into place right now?
Yeah, isn't it?
I suppose it would be.
No, I mean, if his family had a coal fortune, they'd have called him Blackie Coal. Army Hammer. I mean, seriously, I watched the documentary about him, House of Hammer, which was all right, and the guy who set it up was called something like his great granddad or whatever was called Armand Hammer.
Okay, it's all right. Well, okay. It seems so obvious. I can't believe I didn't put that together.
Yeah, versus his nemesis, Pearly Colgate. Yeah, I mean, hasn't Spacey been exonerated?
Has he been?
I don't think. I mean, I think the charges were dropped, weren't they, or something? But
with that in mind, do we see him making a comeback? I rather suspect not.
He has been in stuff, just nothing like super A-list.
I know he's doing theatre and stuff like that. Is that correct? But I don't think he's ever going to be on the silver screen again.
I think he has done some low-budget films. I mean, wasn't he doing a film where he plays an actor wrongly accused? I mean, he's basically playing himself. Well, anyway, but who else would you say?
All right, I've got it.
Suspicious?
Yeah, no, not suspicious. I'm just going to say something shite. But Bruce Willis, dementia, it's a ploy. He knows the ground is shrinking beneath his feet, so he needs to kind of, Bill Cosby up and look.
It's all going to come out
as harmless as possible.
You're saying that he's the American Savile.
I'm not saying that. I believe that to my core now.
You're not saying that. You're tattooing it on your head. Beloved actor.
Which I've shaved bald in solidarity.
Jesus, that's just tasteless. That's awful. I think that there's a thing where the people who come across, I mean, I wouldn't say Bruce Willis comes across like a knobhead or anything, but I've heard he's on set he's not bothered, or not now. He's not bothered about anything, but on set he's he'll arrive when he wants to. He's a bit of a sort of self-involved shit. I think people like that are less suspicious because they're not trying to cover it up. Like Tom Hardy, I've heard he's a knobhead on set, and that makes me think
okay.
I bet he isn't a diddler.
I see.
Because
Interesting.
if he
Interesting take.
yeah, like here's one out of the blue, and again, this is just a joke. Michael Cera.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yes, that's great, Paul.
Yeah. Right? Mm.
Especially since Youth from Revolt, he's been sporting that moustache ever since.
That tells you something, huh?
It does, yeah. It's basically the uniform.
And like, not a diddler, but I bet after he dies it comes out like nothing illegal, but he's like the world's largest collector of fecal matter, Willem Dafoe. Something weird like that.
Yeah, I could see him, like, drinking urine.
Yeah. Or he just had this
by
weird
the-
thing about, like, again, completely consensual, didn't hurt anyone, fair play to him, but he would stick matchbox cars up his arse. Something like that.
No one else was in the room,
No.
But he would catalogue it with Polaroids.
Yes. And journals, and an offline blog.
So I started with the Vauxhall Corsa.
No,
Seemed pretty inoffensive.
Polaroids.
But then he walked up to Steady Eddie.
just aren't reliable enough. No, he would have the, like 16 by 9s blown up. He had his own darkroom for it.
Well, you'd have to. You couldn't take that to, your local chemist to get those developed.
Here's another one. Again, I doubt it, but Ray Romano.
Yeah, he's kind of too inoffensive.
Yeah, okay. Ryan Reynolds.
Ow. Fucking bastard.
Exactly.
Sorry, this little man is acting up. For those,
Put your little
those
man
at
away.
home, my little man is not there anymore. So he's like a 4-month-old staffy pup, and he's, ball of fluff, raising him well. But 2 days ago, I was getting out the shower, and I didn't realise that the bathroom door had been left ajar. So he wriggled in while I'd gotten out the shower, and I was drying off. I had to tell him ahead I was drying my hair, and that's when he's very curious, all of us out of nowhere, about my penis, and he launched himself up, snapped his jaw on the head of my cock.
I don't know what to say
Sorry.
to that. Back to diddlers. Or do you want to start on the thing you're completely unprepared for? No, we've only done 15 minutes. That's nowhere near enough.
Oh damn! We can recommend the playback button on YouTube. Just put it like 50% speed, maybe even 75%. We can call this a day.
And another thing about sex offenders.
All right. Well, before we move on, one candidate for Diddler Face. Mr. Beast. Yay or nay? No?
Yes, I have heard that voiced. Any particular reason, or just the way he looks?
I'm a superficial man.
Just the way he
I would-
looks.
Just the way he looks.
And behaves.
An inexplicable amount of money. Too much philanthropy, sorry.
Well, I mean, he has associated with, weird people, and he does make content for children. I would...
Beast will fix it.
Beast will fix it for you. Yeah, I'd say that's a pretty good bet. Who else could I possibly get sued by? There's Beast. Trying to think of anyone especially litigious I could mention. Alan Dershowitz.
I don't know. Does Mr. Beast have like a muscular problem? It's something to do with like the way his eyelids droop. Is very. The top half of his face does not coordinate with the bottom half, for sure.
Well, so yes, he does have some sort of facial palsy, but from what I can see, there's debate about how much that would actually lead to that. I've also seen people say that his thumbnails are specifically like that to make you click on them because they're kind of
Weird.
the exact point between weird and it's not quite off-putting enough. I don't know.
Okay. So we can say he's a master manipulator. Would be very.
Beast has come a wooing. What about any of the Pauls?
I wouldn't say a diddler. I'm sure they strike me as abusive people, but not necessarily diddlers. I'd love to hear it, and we can just get them swept away.
Maybe
for a very long
they're
time.
targeting adult women.
But a salacious rumor about child abuse would stick would be great. I wouldn't wish that actual child abuse would,
It would make my day.
occur. Yes, I should probably take that back. But getting them removed from the public sphere would be, nice for me. I don't know about everyone else.
Tim Burton.
I'm basing this again on kooky looks and what have you, but I can say I'm going to put Marilyn Manson in the same camp as well.
Well, that's definitely happened, yeah. There's loads of shit about him.
He doesn't diddle children, though. He likes to diddle hams.
That's what he calls
very
hamburgers.
niche diddling. As you call them hamburgers, despite the fact they're obviously diddled.
Just cum covered hamburgers.
He's holding it up, and it's just covered in jizz.
Localized entirely in your daycare?
Oh, God. Your nursery.
All right, unholy crossovers. Have you thought of anything yet?
I've been too concerned with diddlers, I'm afraid.
What about Jim Carrey, the original Riddler? The original Riddler.
After watching, Man on the Moon and his approach to method acting, he talks about one point. He believes he could channel anybody or anything. If I'm remembering correctly, if that is correct, and he has the gift, there's no reason he couldn't just channel a diddler.
So you're saying that anyone who's anyone who's capable of acting,
Daniel Day-Lewis, for sure.
It's all a ruse. Laurence Olivier, right? He could play different people. Suspicious.
Kevin Bacon. We saw The Woodsman.
Jason Bateman.
Okay. Yeah.
He gives me weird vibes.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
a darkness to him for sure.
Oh yeah, I hear he's a real piece of shit.
Oh really?
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah. Same with
I
Jeffrey
can see-
Tambor. Real knobhead.
Yeah, I've heard that as well. Didn't he have something? Didn't he have some kind of sexual assault charges at some point? Anyway.
Maybe, but I wasn't talking about that. Just being not necessarily anything illegal. Just being a knobhead. But there we go. There's plenty of them. All right, unholy crossovers. Shall I give you my first one?
Sure.
Okay. Little Nicky crossover with Passion of the Christ, where Adam Sandler plays Jesus in Mel Gibson's masterpiece, and Jim Caviezel plays Little Nicky in Adam Sandler's masterpiece, Little Nicky.
I wouldn't have gone with Little Nicky though. I would have gone with what?
You wouldn't want to see
Jim
Adam
Caviezel.
Sandler as Jesus? Wouldn't that be great?
I'd love to see him nailed to a cross for sure. Yes.
Like it's
When there is.
we can only use one take because we're using real nails.
We can only do one take because we've only got one Adam Sandler.
But it will be a 3-day long take.
Don't remember much about Uncut Gems, but I do remember the opening sequence quite a lot because it starts off inside Adam Sandler's asshole. I thought that was really funny. I just like to imagine, though, they fit like a whole entire production inside Adam Sandler. And they're slowly pulling it out. When you get the reveal, they retract themselves from his body, and we get a full shot of him. He's just wildly prolapsed, right? He hasn't got legs anymore.
Yeah, and it's really brought together by it all being set to a slide whistle. What about unholy crossover? This would twist some melons. Happy Gilmore crossed with Billy Madison, and people be watching Billy Madison be like, "But this is a completely different character."
But if you really wanted to show the contrast, you'd get Waterboy, right, against Happy Gilmore, because they're like night and day.
That's right.
Oh, I know. No, I know what the fucking unholy cross is. It applies to any movie now. You know where I'm going now.
Go on.
Light bulb. It's Johnny Knoxville from our personal favourite movie, The Ringer, spliced into anything else.
Okay. The English Patient.
You might get away with it with the King's Speech. I don't know.
Oh my god. Okay.
I mean, by the same token, Walter Jr. is going to do a lot of heavy lifting in that camp as well.
Jesus Christ. I suppose so. You don't see him in anything anymore, do you?
I mean, did he do anything else?
That's what I'm asking, yeah.
I never saw him in anything else.
Skylar crossed with Princess Superstar.
Oh, God.
Skyler.
I'm perfect.
We could do a Walter White with Hal. That might be quite funny. Bob Odenkirk. It's not a crossover, but Bob Odenkirk in a new spin-off called Baby Saul, where he's a high schooler and he wears like a hat with a propeller on it and has like a massive lollipop.
Did they digitally de-age him? Is he supposed to be kind of age appropriate, or is he just as he is now, 50-year-old man?
I mean, 60.
60? Okay, well.
As he is now, 60-plus-year-old man, and no one bats an eyelid. Everyone's like, hey, young Saul, he can't be a day over 12. 14 my ass.
So the school doesn't bat an eye. Is there? What's the preamble for this? Does he have goods on the school?
He's selling cigarettes to seniors.
Is this an abuse of money? He's bought the school for an ego trip, and no one can say a bad word.
He's bought the school. He's the private owner of the high school.
Yeah, Saul Goodman is boss baby at school. There you go.
AKA King Shit. I'm trying to think of more Adam Sandler crossovers. What about Adam Sandler? What about Waterboy and Warhorse?
Sorry, buddy, I haven't seen Warhorse.
Well, it's about a horse in World War One. So maybe instead of Waterboy, we could have a horse. And instead of a horse in World War One, it could be Adam Sandler. And various people take turns to groom him and feed him sugar lumps and stuff. And in the end, they turn him into lasagna. Tesco's lasagna.
As long as we get a really gratuitous scene where they take him to the abattoir.
Yeah, I mean, imagine Adam Sandler being crushed in a meat grinder, but still acting like a horse, like going, "Arr! Arr!" That would be scary.
Oh, there we go, Godfather.
They live, Rowdy Roddy Piper, crossover, or swapped, whatever, with Glenn Close in The Devil Wears Prada.
So you have obviously the kick-ass sunglasses, but this time they're, largely overly extravagant and Prada. Is that correct?
I imagine he just walks into the boardroom and just starts shotgunning people. It's pretty full on.
Oh, I thought Glenn Close was going around like shotgunning people and chewing bubble gum.
Yes, everyone is. Yeah, no, Glenn Close, but as the Devil Wears Prada lady, she's like, I don't see the problem with this. Good. I'm also one of them. Rowdy Roddy Piper and they live in Ocean's 11. He puts on the sunglasses at the end, and George Clooney is one of them. And also promptly gets a combo buckshot slug to the brain. What about Mr. Rogers and Daniel Day-Lewis in Gangs of New York?
I'm thinking There Will Be Blood. It's a good move for Mr. Rogers. I've abandoned my boy. He was a good boy, but I abandoned my boy.
And Daniel Day-Lewis could give some... Daniel Oilman could give some really, really intense lessons about family. Whilst sharing a foot spa with a black policeman. What about Home Improvement, Tim Allen, obviously, swapped with Anthony Hopkins' Silence of the Lambs? So it's Hannibal Lecter doing all the Home Improvement stuff, but everyone still reacts to him like it's Tim Allen, like being a goofball. Like no one's kind of giving him, much credence. But then in Silence of the Lambs, it's Tim Allen like being like, "What am I doing in here? Let me out!" And everyone's like really creeped out all the time by him. Like, just be careful, Clarice, going in there. That's Tim fucking Allen in there. He'll try and get in your head.
Clarice is walking through, before the first big meet, and that guy slings his jizz at her, and as soon as it hits her in the hair, you just hear,
Yeah, don't do that, buddy. I will get in your head. And then the next thing we know, that guy's killed himself. He slings his jizz at her.
Looks like he's back to prison for me.
Yeah, I mean, do you have any, Damien? Any?
I'm going to double down. No.
Double down. Neil Breen.
I mean, you could do that anyway because those movies are almost exclusively green screened.
I suppose you kind of couldn't you? I mean, I suppose with AI, the way it is, we're probably only a few months away from Neil Breen making, like, actual top-notch art.
That's a very good point.
Like, he could just,
do you think he's coherent enough to design a sophisticated enough prompt to do that?
Design a sophisticated prompt. I mean, couldn't that prompt be actually very simple? Like, I'll give, "Dear AI," I imagine it starts, that's how you do an AI prompt. "Dear Sirs, please make for me a 95-minute movie starring me, Neil Breen, no expense spared, and make it excellent and, make sure that the phonies, who I hate, know their place. Signed me, Neil Breen." And then it'll come out with something amazing, like Die Hard 7. But with Neil Breen.
But P.S. I'm also an AI too, wink wink. So, solidarity, brothers. Make me cool.
The AI response, I would have phoned it in if you hadn't said that.
Just churns out 90 minutes of the Teletubbies jousting on pandas.
Fucking hell! I mean, if they made it like so, it isn't just one shot of that. If it's like loads of different shots, jib shots, aerial shots, make it really intense.
But the Teletubbies are made to look like quite human. It's not the.
What do you mean made to look like? They looked quite human. They had eyes, mouths. They were basically people.
But we're talking like skin suits. They're not furry at all.
So they're still like red and purple and stuff. They've still got the antennas, but it's just skin.
You see loads of like stitches around their screens in their belly where you can see that the technology has been implanted and it's still really sore. The wounds have not healed.
Yeah, so we're bringing in an element of... What the fuck was that film that we watched about the guy who gets made into a walrus?
Oh, Tusk.
Tusk, that's it. Yeah, an element of that then, where these were people. At one point, but now...
Yeah, Neil Breen's in a wheelchair, habitually, performing surgeries on them to make them... A Teletubby once saved my life. I have the utmost respect for this most noble of creatures. I just want a Teletubby companion.
You will be the most perfect Poe.
There you go, Poe.
Poe. A Neil Breen movie.
Room for sequels, Poe 2, Dipsy.
It really loses steam though with Poe 5, Naughty Nunu.
That's more for like the porn parody stuff.
It ends up more like an Emmanuel. Yeah. How much Teletubbies have we watched that we can name all of the... Can you name all of them?
What, Teletubbies?
Yeah, I bet you can.
Yes.
Yes, me too.
Of course I can.
Tinky Winky, Dipsy, Lala, Poe. Were there only 4?
Yeah, there's only 4.
Oh.
How did you not know that? No, there's Nunu. Naughty Nunu.
Naughty Nunu.
Filthy Nunu. They're all different Nunus, by the way.
Nunus are the ones that service the Teletubbies.
Well, there can be many and varied. We've talked about the debauched Nunus, but there's also Vicar Nunu as well.
Vicar Nunu?
We can circle around to, potential diddler for sure. Easy target.
You mean the Nunus are an at-risk group Oh man, now I'm thinking about the Teletubbies and how Neil Breen can
Yeah.
factor into that. Yeah, yeah. Let's talk about the Teletubbies.
Where are you? Who are you? It's a big moment for me. He finally does his like shirtless shot, and he too has a TV implanted in his belly.
Where his six-pack would be.
It's just a static image of a six-pack. I am a god.
Maybe they could all have like a static image of Neil Breen's face on them.
The Teletubbies are almost entirely emotionless. It's just the image on their tummy will correspond with what they should be feeling at that time. But it's always Neil Breen's face.
And is his face moving then, or is it him doing a slightly downward, almost Kubrick stare, not unlike the guy's face in the 1984 film 1984?
No, I'm thinking it's a 3D rendering of it, but at the level of like Lawnmower Man. It looks like he's trapped inside the Teletubbies.
Oh no, we're gonna have to defeat Lawnmower Man in the Breen realm. I was gonna say, I mean, I want to go back to this, the Breen realm, but I was gonna say Wallace and Gromit, but Gromit is Neil Breen in whatever, Double Down, and Neil Breen is Gromit, and like rolling his eyes at Wallace and walking on all fours to collect a paper, things like that. Much larks.
Wearing the same beard from, was it Twisted Pair? Because dogs are there.
He's not going to get rid of that beard, Damien. That was a film quality beard. I mean, he might as well wear that every day until it, becomes unusable.
I mean, at this point it will be.
No, at this point
No
it will
doubt.
have fused into his face. It'll be an actual beard now.
It's really bloody because his actual facial hair is growing out from underneath it, but there's no way to shave it. So it's this horrible septic mess of ingrown hairs.
Neil Breen always struck me as someone who would wax his face. To the point where he's taken all of the follicles out now. He can't grow hair there anymore.
Yes, but
He had his face lasered even.
But habits die hard, and he will still keep up.
He'd just be shaving the top layer of skin off every day with his Mac 6 laser.
He does have a very red complexion. That could explain why he doesn't have the same number of layers of skin as most of us do.
Yeah, it's all those incredibly hard sandpaper baths. So yeah, Neil Breen in the Breen realm as Lawnmower Man. That also reminds me of Kane in, is it RoboCop 2? Who's also got the same sort of polyagonal face.
Oh yeah.
So Breen as RoboCop.
I mean, you could kind of get away with that because his performances are always super wooden.
But it's just
wouldn't be it wouldn't be it wouldn't be a performance choice. It's more of a limitation.
It's just Breen with the RoboCop, like the top of his helmet, not even the chin bit, and that's it, nothing else. And he's just wearing jeans and a t-shirt. Otherwise.
And it's very confusing, but don't worry, Neil Breen's got you covered, right? So every time, he's on the scene, he announces himself. Not even on the scene, it's every time he walks on frame, I am RoboCop.
Yeah, and the words RoboCop flash up as well, so the audience understand. Like in huge red letters. And in fact, when he sends out this movie to all the thousands of cinemas, it should have a little note to the projectionist saying, could you get the ushers to go around and tell people that's RoboCop whenever I'm on screen?
Be sure to pause the film.
In fact, I will put in 2-minute blank screens into the film to let you do that.
Put on your 3D glasses now.
Also, could you smear some grease on the bulb before you start? Yeah, I think there's a lot of legs on Breen for crossovers now. Now I'm thinking I was wrong to
I'm seeing him as Morpheus.
But also as Neo at the same time. That could be the new double down. I know Kung Fu. Yes, I do. Let's eat some tuna. I will. And they go off hand in hand.
Sorry, that's really grim.
And also perhaps like Breen in a black wig as Trinity. Maybe. And Breen with a bald cap with a receding hair wig as Agent Smith as well. Breen in white makeup as the albino twins. And obviously Breen in distasteful blackface as the Oracle.
Neil Breen is an artiste. It's not distasteful. It's a very carefully considered choice.
I think everyone
Don't
can
undermine
agree,
that.
whatever they think of Breen's films, Breen is the best thing in them.
It's the only thing to latch onto. Yes, I'll agree.
They wouldn't have been the same if it wasn't for him. I mean, you know, either, and probably the most likely thing, is he's deranged. But if he isn't, and it's a masterful troll, at some point when he was putting together the first film, I think it was Double Down, he must have, like, done some casting for actors and thought to himself, you know what, fuck it. No one else can do it, I'll do it. And whichever it was, whether he was deranged or it's a troll, he was right to do that.
Yes, he was. He's definitely carved a very small space in the annals of cinema history.
I don't know if it's
He
even
won't
that
be too
small,
forgotten.
dude. I mean, he's probably in like the top 100 known directors, surely. Like even films people really like.
Mm.
You know, who directed Blair Witch? I don't know.
Was it Neil Breen? No, get the fuck out of my face.
Yeah, it should have been. And he should have been in it, as the Blair Witch. They should have done it the opposite, where the Blair Witch is constantly on screen. Saying, I'm the Blair Witch.
And Neil Breen is also the camera.
Through the lens of
Breeno
Breen.
Vision.
Like, it's like a...
See the world through the eyes of a Breen.
It's basically Enter the Void, where we're constantly like seeing like, this is a shot of Breen's liver. This is a shot of Breen's spleen. The Breen spleen bunch. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore.
Osmosis Jones, but they fly through Neil Breen, you know. And all the organs are golden because he's a shiny golden god.
And the only person in there who isn't animated is Shatner. He still plays the mayor in Bill Murray.
Help me, I'm trapped inside Neil Breen is the name of the movie.
See, that's a horror movie I would pay to see.
None of it is animated anymore.
And that's just the shortened title. The full title is Help Me, I'm Trapped in Neil Breen and I Can't Get Out. And they're constantly like cutting holes into him like, yeah, I'm absolutely sure that this is the lower back and if we cut ourselves out, there'll be daylight. Cut through it and then there's just more Neil Breen. He's also basically like AM in I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. I have no mouth and I must breen. And he's made
Very
this
good.
the breenscape for him, where we can't even discern what is, you know, it's crossed between virtual reality, Lawnmower Man reality to reality.
Mm. Well, you know, it's bound to happen because, you know, he can hack the universe. That's what's going on here, you know.
As long as he's got at
The
least
government-
2 laptops.
Neil Breen
Yes.
in Bruce Lee's Enter the Dragon.
Enter the Breen. Well, leaving Breen aside, although I think Breen could make an appearance as a certain Wookiee, I think something that people definitely would want to be crossed over, and there'd be absolutely no lore problems at all, would be Star Wars and the Star Trek.
Okay.
So I was thinking as Leonard Nimoy as Princess Leia.
I mean, I want to hear an explanation here. Walk me through.
Walk you through what? I think it's pretty self-explanatory. And the Enterprise, even though it's obviously much larger, could be the Millennium Falcon. No, you're not liking this?
I'm just thinking.
And
It could work. Just with
Scotty
with a lot
could
of hate
be
mail, I imagine.
Scotty could be. Oh God, I forgot what they were called. A Jawa. You know,
I mean,
going on about
we have to
Poutini. A lot of hate mail. I think there'd be a lot of love mail. People are, why have we never done this before? This is great.
We call them white envelopes. We don't open those.
And I especially like the way it seamlessly runs in with series 2 to 4 of Bewitched. And maybe we could get like someone from the Flintstones in there as well.
I mean, you haven't cast Vader yet.
Fred could be Vader.
Do we still have?
So he's
is
always
this just an
going,
excuse to get James L. Jones to.
Because he's locked out of the Death Star again. Because Wilma is the Emperor. What were you going to say, sorry?
I want an excuse just to get James L. Jones to shout "Yabba Dabba Doo."
Is James
But not
L. Jones
shout-
still alive?
Welcome to Is That Celebrity Dead?
Forever. James Earl Jones is dead.
Oh, well, that's actually one I liked.
It's sooner than I thought it was. It was September of last year, 9th of September.
Right. Damn.
Bummer.
Just missed out on the 11th of September anniversary as well. You would have loved that.
I'm not doing that again. Tapping out.
What about Breen as Chewbacca then? And then that would make Twisted Pair even more interesting if it's just a conflict between two completely non-English speaking Chewbaccas. Why do they hate each other so much? One's evil, but which one? I don't know. The one with the beard.
Yes, but he's a Wookiee now, so he needs to be furry than that. So how does he approach the problem? Buy more beard. It's just covered in moustaches.
Yeah, and I suppose
or he's just wearing like a green lycra suit, and he just green screens that as well.
green screens the.
But he can only, green screen a static image of a Wookiee, so he's always stood very still.
Or he's moving, his head is moving, and then this image is just floating around. So then that means that in Star Wars he's going to be naked, other than all the beards and his bandolier thing.
Well, you say bandolier, you know where it's going.
Zardos.
Yes, it does.
Yes.
But what I do want to see is that big stone head.
Yes, but it's Breen.
Breen.
But it's a full-sized Breen. It's not just his head.
It's not just his head, but his body is not proportionate. It's just kind of sort of dangling underneath.
Which would be funnier if his body was like 8 times the size of the head, or just tiny, just a normal sized body on that massive stone head.
I want to say the kind of the jellyfish one, where he's just sort of dangling.
And it is his actual body, is it? Just with this, so Breen's normal sized head is somewhere inside that stone head full of guns.
It's a giant mask.
Yes, that he can't possibly hold up. Well, yeah, but what about Breen as Sean Connery? Then he gets to wear that, mankini.
I mean, it's not like he hasn't played multiple roles in a movie before. I'm sure we can make this happen.
Which would mean that Sean Connery gets to be both good and bad Breen in Twisted Pair.
I mean, I'm sure you could just, because it's green screen, you could just take footage of Sean Connery and just put it in it. That could easily be made.
Breen is Zardoz, so what would he say then? Breen speaks to you, or something completely different? He starts going on about 300 million people will die tonight. After I've eaten my massive can of tuna.
The AI is good. The government is bad.
Well, I guess then, we've obviously missed out Breen in the Room.
Oh, those are 2 heavy hitters, huh?
Yes,
How's that go?
Tommy Wiseau is not in love with Lisa. Breen, you're tearing me apart!
So anyway, Breen, how is your sex life?
Oh, hi, Breen.
Oh, hi, Breen! that's creepy. I'm just imagining it now. This is tiny little
Oh, Breen.
Breen, yeah, on a pug body.
No, he's...
And it's really docile, it's really friendly, big smiles, really creepy.
But it's his head. So it's that bit from the 70s Body Snatchers where the dog comes out with...
Yeah.
Yes.
First time I kind of like knowingly watched that scene was when we watched it. Absolutely rat-assed. And I know that I had kind of like passed out for a while, and I woke up just in time for that to be on the screen, and I had no solid belief that I had woken up yet. That freaked me the fuck out.
Yeah, that's a very fun shot, that. It's pretty well done, I seem to remember.
Yeah, I watched it subsequent to that, and it's still really creepy, even like sober.
Is that Breen's only appearance? Or could Breen also be Donnie, the college guy as well, who's the same age as Tommy Wiseau, but everyone treats like he's a teenager?
I mean, I think that's probably the better choice, to be honest.
The dog.
I'll leave room for him to be the dog as well, I think, but I would really like to see it. Everyone just acting as though Neil Breen is anything other than what Neil Breen obviously is.
I mean,
I'm sure that's what people do to him in like real life. Like his family just have to tolerate what I'm sure is incessant bullshit.
You think Breen has a family that talks to him?
Well, now he's a huge smash Hollywood celebrity, of course. Yeah, he's Mr. Moneybags. They're all coming out of the woodwork, huh?
You know, I bet you could actually raise a lot of money, and if you offered them you know, a $1 million salary, I bet they would do it. If you remade The Room with Tommy Wiseau as Johnny still, but then Neil Breen as Mark, and then some like, you know, really famous, you know, of the moment, like young Hollywood woman starlet. I'm trying to think, fucking Ana de Armas or someone as Lisa, and she's like in love with them, like besotted with them. These two like really creepy old men. I would watch that.
I bet you would.
I bet I would. And then
already
Danny
watch this.
DeVito as Donnie.
I mean, that's fucking dynamite.
Get out of here, Donnie! Close the fucking door, Donnie! And then, obviously, what's his name? Werner Herzog as the psychologist friend. Peter, is it? You always play psychologist with us. Yeah, I'm a therapist. You always play therapist with us.
Cheep, 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 cheep.
Jesus, yeah, God. You know, and this time, because we'll obviously raise hundreds of millions, their game of pigskin doesn't have to be in an alley. It can be like in an actual massive stadium, in front of a crowd and everything.
Going absolutely wild.
Yes.
Of course.
And Johnny gets a
The
touchdown.
overcapacity. They made an exception to their health and safety rules, you know, because this is a life moment.
3 people died in the crush, and it was worth it. Our insurance covered it. And who could be the old lady with cancer? Lisa's mum. Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Who don't we like?
Meryl Streep.
Oh, right.
Get
So
a top quality actor. You know, it's obviously
Yeah,
going to be
I'd love to
Scorsese
see
filming it.
you get someone really credible to deliver the line, yes, the results are in, I definitely have breast cancer.
Well, now you said it like that,
it'd
it's
be
going to
good
be
to
Bryan
see.
Cranston. Life is unfair.
But he's an old lady, so we've got him, you know, up in a Mrs. Doubtfire kind of rig.
That's right.
When I say rig, though, it's like a mech suit.
Like on loan from the US Army. Like it's combat ready.
Yes, but it's still got, it's still got its little pinny and everything, cardigan and whatnot. Bryan Cranston's head, tiny little head at the top.
So he's like a space marine, basically, standing there. Okay, good. And where can we fit Harvey Fierstein into this? I guess people at the party.
no, we could-
It's not a huge cast, is it, really?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty streamlined. There's only, maybe a couple more that we can knock off. If we don't find a place for Harvey Fierstein, I'm sure we can make an excuse for a narration.
And then Charlie went down with Mark and all the others.
That's how he sounds. I mean that in a good way. I really rate him.
All right, so we do it like sort of the director's kind of Blade Runner, where they kind of
Where it's 8 hours long.
We do it all in black and white, and sort of we go strictly film noir with it.
So the end is like the original cut of Blade Runner, where Johnny is driving Lisa. So where Tommy Wiseau is like driving Ana de Armas. Is that who we're going with?
Oh, no, Millie Bobby Brown.
Millie Bobby Brown is driving her. He's like 50 years older than her, and she's like all over him. Like, you know, she cannot be more in love with him. He's driving her out into the countryside in his future car. And then even though it's been Tommy Wiseau doing Tommy Wiseau all along, we get Harvey Fierstein at the very end doing the narration as if he's Tommy Wiseau going,
I took the girl out in the country and everything was fine.
I think that's a masterpiece. Right, and then then it breaks up for a second because we get a flash on screen that says RoboCop.
You see him approaching in the distance. I am RoboCop.
Another candidate, maybe, if Bryan Cranston can't do the old lady, would
Scheduling
be
conflict.
Shatner. I think he'd be very good.
Oh, I mean, that could easily work. Just put a wig on him.
Excellent. I don't know if it's a crossover or what, but that's the movie we want to be made. I don't know if Hollywood is listening or whatever, but make that.
Yeah, signed Damien and George.
Also, it should have an intro before the Harvey Fierstein narration from Albert Einstein in front of a blackboard, played by Johnny Knoxville.
You speak to your people, I'll speak to mine. We can make it happen.
And there's like someone in like a Green Man suit, you know, a green screen suit, like constantly like dabbing the drool from his chin, but we never edit it out.
No one, narratively, no one could acknowledge this character.
You know, much like in Shatner's, you know, being 90 something, in Shatner's scenes, like his nurse is on screen sometimes. We just don't acknowledge it. Just look past it.
Why is there an IV in the background?
Yeah. And why in one shot does he look normal, and why in one shot is he beet red? Don't worry about it.
Just lighting, it's fine.
Just like, yeah, just a slight change of day, change of daytime. Actually makes a lot of sense. It's sunset now for this one shot. And if anything, I think that, you know, if we were to redo those shots, we should go for a low angle to make him look more vascular.
Okay, yeah, that's good. So we can get more of a sexual component to this movie. Not that it wasn't sexy enough.
If anything, it needed more boobies.
More thrombosis.
If this is a 3-hour movie, 30 minutes of it needs to be Tommy Wiseau and Neil Breen tussling around with whoever our beautiful lady is.
This is the Jello pudding scene we're talking about, right?
The second Jello pudding scene. The first Jello pudding scene, completely different. Montage. Show that time has passed.
So they're just drying off.
It's just the next day someone putting a load of Vanish onto their furniture, trying to scrub it out.
Oh, God.
No, you can't put Vanish on. You've got to suck it out with a dry rag first.
I forgot the Scotch Guard.
Yeah. You're going to need a wet and dry. Alright, well, I mean, I guess, you know, we're not going to do better than that.
No,
We should.
What do you mean? We did great, alright?
Oh, well, I don't mean we
Sound like
didn't
you're
do
disparaging our good work.
I think this might be the end of film as we know it, because I just can't see how the medium... I would hope that a lot of people would see this movie who've, you know, previously worked in film and they'd kill themselves afterwards. Because they'd recognise that it's just insurmountable. I don't mean in a bad way.
Excellent.
I mean they'd be like, "Oh yes, my life is complete."
They've looked upon the face of God.
They have, and they've seen how unworthy they are, and bing bosh bang,
Why try harder?
or at least retool yourself, get a different career, work in a laundromat. So thanks very much for listening, and see you next time.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Bye, Breen.